I guess with your kind of musical background, this character ticks a lot of boxes. I mean, did you see anything of yourself in Rose, or was it kind of some other things that took your fancy?
Well, I think with any character, I always want to meet a character halfway and bring half of myself to her and her bring half of herself to me, and each way we come away knowing a little bit more about each other and ourselves. But I suppose in a way she scared me as well, because she has such a tenacious, kind of ferocious, sometimes selfish, burning courage, which she's probably a bit more courageous and bold than I am, which was also fun and also quite a scary thing to acknowledge and try and colour and make her as human as possible. Yeah.
Obviously you worked with Tom before. I mean, did that help with the characterisation of Rose, that you had a director who you worked with before and you were able to kind of give and take between the two of you?
It was the most amazing collaborative experience I've ever had, like not just with Tom but with Nicole and Faye and George Steele, our DOP, like 3 months beforehand we were all in conversation together about, and Jack Arnold, who's a music supervisor, about what the music was, why we were saying this, like the script, like we were working on the script and like cinema and like what kind of reference shots for the filmmakers they were using. So, but Tom is one of the most amazing friends and people that I've ever been lucky to have in my life, and he creates a place where he trusts and pushes me to go beyond what I believe is my limit. So yeah, I love him.
Tell me about the kind of genesis of the project for you. How did you get involved, and what was it about the script that kind of spoke to you? You wanted to make this?
I'd heard about the script for a while. Actually, a few of my friends that work in the film industry had read it and heard it and said it was really good. And there was something, and they kind of pitched it to me, and I heard it, and it appealed to me. But then after, then Faye, I knew Faye, the producer, who's a friend of mine, and she gave me the script to read. And so I came to it reasonably late on, in that Nicole, the writer, had been working on it for 10 years up until that point. And then I read it and I fell in love with it, and I immediately thought of Jessie Buckley, and then it sort of tumbled on from there.
Let me ask you about Jessie. I mean, I know you worked with her on War and Peace, and she was absolutely fantastic in Beast recently.
Yes.
I mean, she has so many special qualities. I mean, what made her perfect to play Rose in this one?
I think it was about page 3 of the script that I first thought of her for it, and then I couldn't get her out of my mind. But she's you don't come across actresses like Jessie very often, and she has such a raw kind of energy that just kind of is all-consuming and takes you in, and is sort of vivacious and energetic and fun, and it sort of seems to chime exactly with the character. So and I also knew she's done a bit of singing on War and Peace as well, and so I knew she had a good set of lungs on her.
And just finally, I noticed I found out today Glasgow is quite a big place for country music. I mean, was this a bit of a kind of lesson for you in terms of the music and everything else?
Yeah, it was actually. I didn't really know that there was the same kind of, how strong a kind of country music was in Glasgow, but it sort of makes sense, because if you think of the folk traditions, and actually, of course, country music comes from a lot of, comes with the Scottish, the Irish, the kind of Celtic connections that went over to America before, and so it sort of makes sense. And there was a time during pre-production actually, whereas I was in Nashville listening to some bluegrass, and Jessie was in Glasgow listening to some Scottish folk music, and there was actually some really strong connections. We both sent each other videos of what was going on in a pub in Nashville and a pub in Glasgow, and they were pretty similar.
Yeah. You must be delighted that you've had great reaction in Toronto, and now you're bringing it to London Film Festival.
I'm overjoyed. I can't believe it. It really is like a dream. And my mum and dad are here, and they've never seen it, and there's loads in from Glasgow, and it's just so exciting to finally meet an audience after all these years.
Tell us about the kind of genesis of the project. What was it? The story. Where did it come from, and why did you want to tell this story?
I've been a country music fan all my life. It's my main passion. So I would say the film was kind of a love letter to country music and to Glasgow, where I'm from, and also more than anything to my mum.
It's very big in Glasgow, isn't it, country music? I've started to learn this, but it's quite big, isn't it?
I think Glasgow's the only place in the world that's got its own replica Grand Ole Opry, and I've been going there all my life, and there's a massive scene in Glasgow, and yeah, it's sort of in the water.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me ask you about the character and why Jessie was perfect. I mean, was she someone that you foresaw before, or was there kind of a process to find someone for the role?
I think it's probably a very, very, very hard thing to cast, because it's not my job, thank God, I'm not a director. But as soon as I saw Jessie's tape, that girl can sing, and she's country as dirt. She is the part, and it's no coincidence that as soon as she joined, it was like lighting the touch paper. Everybody wanted to make it, and that was off the blocks. So truly, there's no one that's more country than Jessie Buckley, and she's done a phenomenal job.
I just I'd ask you about working with Tom. I know he worked with Jessie before on War and Peace, and he's done some great TV stuff. I mean, how was the relationship between the two of you? Were you quite precious about the story, or did you let him kind of do his thing and bring his own take to it?
I was a nightmare, man. No, I'm only joking. I wasn't. We just got on great. The thing about Tom, as well as all the other great things he does, he's a really good listener, and he was so open to anything that I might know about music, anything that I might know about Glasgow. So it was seamless and collaborative, and he brought so much to it, as well as Jessie herself. So I was delighted.
And just finally, for audiences that maybe don't know too much about the film, what can they expect when they sit down in the cinema?
What's it about, do you mean?
What can they expect?
Oh, they can expect to laugh, cry, and if they go in there a country music skeptic, they're going to come out a die-hard fan.
Just ask you about the genesis of the film in terms of you getting involved and what it was about the script that spoke to you and wanted you wanted to get involved with this one.
Well, Nicole first pitched the idea to me without any paper. I think there might have been a treatment from memory, and she just said to me, I'd really like to make a movie about a girl who wants to be a country singer. But it's not about fame, it's not about the lust of money and famous. It's about desires and dreams, and about the thing you really want to be, and that actually don't always fit in. I love a movie about an underdog. I love an underdog story. I'm a working class girl myself, and the idea of making a film set in Glasgow about living your dreams is exactly the kind of thing I love.
And I mean, in terms of casting Jessie, I mean, was there a long process to find somebody, or was she someone you kind of settled on very quickly?
Well, early doors in a different version of the movie, or not different version, but on the journey of, we did do loads of auditions, but it's not until I met Tom Harper, had a coffee with Tom said, I love your script, please let me do it. And by the way, let me tell you, I know exactly who it is to play Rose-Lynn. And I was like, really? How do you know? And he's like, I've just worked with Jessie Buckley on War and Peace. And I'd seen War and Peace, actually. I didn't put two and two together. He showed me a very quick video of her singing this beautiful blues track. And I was like, wow, so she's amazing. And then I got to meet her, and then she's incredible.
I mean, and for audiences who don't know too much about the film yet, I mean, it's not released for a little while yet. I mean, what can they expect when they go and see the film at the cinema?
A lot of laughter, a lot of tears, and hopefully it connects to people, and people understanding about, you know, fighting for your dreams and wanting them, and that's not always an easy journey, and whether it's actually a journey people should go for or not go for. And I hope people really connect to it, whether you're a husband, a wife, a mother, a daughter. You know, I feel like it's sort of, hopefully it hits everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey